This is going to be a pretty straightforward video, just taking a look at some of the things that had changed, I guess for the better, and also looking at some of the differences that I don't like. So let's go ahead and get started with this video. Okay, so one of the main differences that I want to talk about right off the bat, which I think is a change for the worse, in my own personal humble opinion. Now you may disagree with this, but that is a feature that's on the PlayStation Portable and also a feature on the PS3 for that matter, which is the user interface. When you first turn on the system and you don't have a game inside and you're navigating the menu, I think the menu looks a lot cleaner and it's easier to navigate. Everything is organized very nicely by categories. You have your settings, photos, music, video, game, and then network. And you navigate through these pretty quickly by pressing left and right on the D-pad. And then as you hit each one of those categories, you could press down to go through more features for that category, for that specific category. Now that's been did away completely on the PlayStation Vita. And now everything is more iPhone, iPad-esque like, and these icons are now applications. And as you can see, I'm flipping through windows now, whereas the PSP had no windows. And I guess maybe you could fill up a window pretty quickly with applications. This is only a 4 gigabyte memory card that I have inside of here just for my Japanese games only. But I downloaded pretty much every single Japanese game demo that's on the PlayStation Store. And as you can see, I got 10 demos here, which fills out one screen completely, and then I have to flip my finger up to go to the next screen. So I guess these things could fill up pretty fast because the icons are big, wide, fat, whatever you want to say. But I mean, it's not too big of a deal, but it's just, I wish they would have retained the old system, that's all. Okay, the next thing that I want to talk about, which is also a bad point, the face buttons on the controller and even the D-pad is a lot smaller. On the old PlayStation Portable, there's a gap in the middle that kind of separates the D-pad buttons a little bit, but it's all one D-pad and it's connected on the PlayStation Vita. But the face buttons are a little bit smaller. I mean, they're more spread out where you're not going to be mashing multiple buttons at the same time by accident, but it's just a little bit smaller. I don't know if that's better or worse, but I think I like bigger buttons better. Good point. The PlayStation Vita screen is a lot better than the old PlayStation Portable. Well, of course, it's a newer system, but the screen real estate size is a lot bigger. The color is more vivid. The screen is brighter. The resolution is higher. Everything is better about it. I had my PlayStation Portable now for about 7 years, and you can't see it on the camera, but in person I kind of got this screen a little bit scratched to hell. Whereas I don't think the PlayStation Vita screen is going to get that scratched up. I mean, I also have a screen protector on this given. But I mean, even if I didn't, I don't think it would get scratched up that easily. So I guess the material plastic that they use to make this screen is a little bit better quality, build quality, I would say. So it's going to last a little bit longer. That's a plus that I really like. Another plus about the PlayStation Vita is that the speakers are a lot bigger than what they were on the original PlayStation Portable. Now, this is not going to sound like Beats by Dre or anything of that nature, but it does sound a lot more clear, and the volume can be turned up a lot louder on the PlayStation Vita without headphones plugged in. And when you do plug in headphones, it's a little bit more clear to hear the audio, and you can up the volume a lot more than what you could on the original PSP 1000. Another good point about the PlayStation Vita, the games are a lot smaller, including the casing is a lot smaller, so if you build up a big library of PlayStation Vita games, then you'll be able to hold a lot more games inside of your place with taking up less space. The game itself is a lot smaller than the old UMD proprietary disc, which means that it's going to be lighter when you stick this inside your system and not making it as heavy. Another good point about this is that it's on a small memory card now, which there is no spinning disc. This thing is like a miniature type CD, DVD thing. When you stick this UMD inside of your PlayStation Portable, it spins. It takes a lot of power and energy to make this thing spin. Thus, it makes your battery life run down a lot faster. There's no spinning components inside of this. The battery life of the PlayStation Vita is a lot better than the original PlayStation Portable. Another good point about the PlayStation Vita. I really hate it when the battery dies on the PlayStation Portable. When the battery dies, you recharge it and you turn the system back on again. It's going to ask you to re-input in the date, the year, the time, and all that bullshit. And you got to do that every single time that the battery dies. With the PlayStation Vita, when the battery dies and then you recharge it and you repower it back up, it's going to remember the time from before. You don't have to ever set that again. What a relief, I tell you what. More about the control. Other than the face buttons being a little bit different in size, there's still two trigger buttons on the top of the system. So there's a total of 6 buttons for actual gameplay. What's better, the analog sticks are 2, where the PSP is 1. Obviously 2 is better than 1. It sticks out a little bit more than what it did on the PlayStation Portable, which means that it is a lot easier to control than the PlayStation Portable, but it's not as perfect as I would like it to be, but it's better. Actually, to tell you the truth, I wish that these analog sticks can be even more bigger than what they are. I would actually prefer them to be the size of what they are on the actual PlayStation controller. Then it would really be like a console experience and control-like experience on a handheld. And I mean, of course, it's going to take up more space, but I wouldn't care. I could still take it on the go, but I think I'd have a lot more fun with my shooters and have more accuracy with something like that. Another plus about the PlayStation Vita that the PlayStation Portable doesn't have, you have the front touchscreen and then you have the back touchpad. So your games is going to be a lot more interactive and play control user friendly with those added on features. And I don't think that they're just a gimmick. I think it's actually going to make the games better. It's already been proven with Uncharted, Golden Abyss. That game is awesome. It plays awesome with the touch controls. I like it a lot. Another plus about the PlayStation Vita, which PlayStation Portable does not have, front-facing camera and a rear-facing camera. You can use these cameras to project yourself or your environment into the game, or you can take photos, or you can also take video with these. Now, mind you, the quality is not the best in the world. It's not going to record a video better than your iPhone. I don't even think it's going to record a video better or take pictures better rather than your Nintendo DS. But, you know, I think it's still good for what it is. But I didn't buy this to take photos or videos. My whole purpose is gaming with this. My final thoughts about the PlayStation Vita. The other thing that I didn't talk about really fast is that overall it's a bigger unit than the PlayStation Portable, but it feels a lot more lightweight, so it's easier to carry. Overall, everything is better. It's a plus. It's going to be a step above the PlayStation Portable. And is it warrant for you to buy it? I say yes, it is. This is the closest thing to a console experience that you can get on a portable device. My final verdict for a score for the PlayStation Vita, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. And I am going to say that this is the best handheld ever made. There was this guy that I knew when I used to be in the military. His name was Airman Black. What he said about the original PSP when he got his hands on one in 2005, he was so blown away with it. I mean, so was I at that time. But he said about the original PlayStation Portable, he said, whoever designed this, they should get a fucking medal. And I agree with him. And I'm going to say the same thing applies for the PlayStation Vita. If you don't have one, you got the money for one, you're borderline considering if you want to buy one or not, go ahead and get one. You won't be disappointed. And I'm going to be out. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.